Well, I think 10 years, 5 years, 3 years from now, people will ask, where were you March 6th, 2021? And it will be, unfortunately, a JFK, Martin Luther King, 9/11 moment. And I wonder if those attacking democracy in the United States um, had going through their mind anything that was right according to God's kingdom. And one of the first things that Jesus taught his disciples were, blessed are the poor in spirit, for the kingdom of heaven is theirs. Matthew chapter 5. Those who mourn are blessed, for they will be comforted. The gentle are blessed, for they will inherit the earth. Those who hunger and thirst for righteousness are blessed, for they will be fulfilled or filled. The merciful are blessed, for they will be shown mercy. The pure in heart are blessed, for they will see God. The peacemakers are blessed, for they will be called the sons of God. Those who are persecuted for righteousness are blessed, for the kingdom of heaven is theirs. You are blessed when they insult, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Be glad and rejoice, because your reward is great in heaven. For that is how they persecuted the prophets who were before you. The Sermon on the Mount continues of just a real upside down environment compared to God Bless America environment, where there's pursuit of happiness and money and power available to anyone that wants to adhere to the basic laws of Constitution. And that blessedness is a humility, a gentleness that's not found in the business world or in the political world. A softness of heart that most Christian men have exchanged because they're afraid of being called a homosexual. Blessed are those that mourn. You won't see many men crying for the sake of other people's pain or even their own mistakes. They just that's one of my biggest problems, is picking up a stiff upper lip and shutting down the old emotions and just plowing through logically like Spock. The poor in spirit are blessed, for the kingdom of heaven is theirs. What is this poor in spirit? Why not? Where's this college graduate accolades that Jesus is supposed to be the way, the truth, and the life? What do you mean poor in spirit? There's this humility that Jesus says is all about the kingdom of heaven that's just totally upside down to what we saw today and what we've seen in other low points that blew. People have supported abortion of tremendous proportion, similar to what we saw today, just a march upon the skulls of many kids that don't have a voice because they've been called non-humans. I get both sides of the argument. The blue and the red have really strong points. But what we saw today was just that human nature does not want the blessing from God expressed in Jesus Christ on the Sermon on the Mount. We want a blessing that gives military power, economic power. We are not interested in being sons of God that consistently look towards being peacemakers. Pure in heart, as long as we win the argument, pure in heart would be someone who's looking out for the best interests of everyone. And there's no mixed motives. There's a benevolent motive to it.
Who do you think you are?
Sure, I want to come out with you and as a one-win situation. For they shall see God. Can you imagine? Always looking for God to help intervene for the best of everybody involved, being patient enough to wait. It's just interesting that most of the people that were marching on Capitol Hill would probably have a Bible that is not filled with dust in their living room. They would adhere to the idea that there is a Bible that makes sense to them, but would they want to live it? I sense not. And I think that's the saddest part for me, is that most of my red friends are truly some of the best business partners that I've had, some of the most logical, spiritual people that I've had. But when it comes down to actually living peaceable and tolerant lives, they consider that a weakness and an opportunity for being taken advantage of. Well, I mean, look at this list. Jesus is not giving an opportunity to have a bulletproof environment here. This is someone whose only defense is that you've got a Father in heaven that's going to take care of you, and so we do what it takes to be a part of His family, and we trust that He'll take care of us. So when you look at your life and your actions, do you really want the blessing of God when you pray over your food? Do you really want the blessing of God when you tell your friends that agree with you politically, hey, God bless you, when your next door neighbor is probably more spiritual than you? And it was a sad day for me to see. Probably, I know people that were in that situation, that were there. I probably know people that I've communicated with, and felt like there was some camaraderie there spiritually. But in terms of how they treat other people, wow, it's not blessed according to Jesus' list of blessings here on the Sermon on the Mount, the Beatitudes. So, if you're sad like me and you want to grow spiritually, there's something going on. So don't turn that off. Definitely don't turn it on to bitterness. Use this opportunity to forgive people that are in that environment. That even tomorrow, even after all the Republicans have, except for a couple, have denounced this as a charade and a sedition, which is a work of the flesh. It's right in Galatians chapter 5 is one of the very principal works of the flesh is discord, sedition, and given to anger and wrath. So if you're, friends with someone that's still caught in that trap, gently rebuke them. Just in patience, go after ways to make friends with them. And sometimes it's just not going to work. There's just no possible way to bridge a gap with a person who continually chooses to do that which is evil and to serve their father, the devil, who comes to lie, kill, and destroy, which is almost identical of the list of what we saw today. So even if this cost me some friends here in Alaska and some subscribers that are probably most likely just interested in the snow machine, 5-10 years from now, I really hope that you look back on this and go, oh yeah, God forgive me, God change me, bless me into a person that you have described here in Matthew, so that I can literally look you in the eye and say, I want to be a Christian according to your terms, not according to American Republican red or Democratic blue terms. Well, anyway, Lord bless you guys with words that actually mean something. A blessing that comes from God is what really counts. My blessing from Alaska right now is actually pretty warm outside, so it might actually mean something if you've got colder weather than me. In January, usually it's 20 below, but right now it's like 10 above. We went for a nice snowmobile ride tonight, and it's the first time I'd been out in almost 2 weeks, so it was really encouraging to see the wonderful pitch dark sky with the stars just shining bright. So it's always fun to go out in the middle of nowhere and see that with no city lights. Well, Lord, encourage you guys. Think about what I'm saying. If you're disagreeing with me, study out in the scriptures before you hate me. Study it out in the scripture before you become someone who just thinks that this is just a digital video. I don't need to pay attention to this guy. You wouldn't have been listening to it if there wasn't something helpful in my channel and other stuff that I'm doing. So give me a little bit of time. If you disagree with me, that's fine. If I would have heard someone talk like this when I was 15, 16 years old, I wouldn't even cared, but I wouldn't have agreed. Anyway, but take care. I've yammered enough, and talk to you soon.